Prosperity team, this is Dr. Money coming to you from the prosperity corner of the universe where silliness is sacred and nobody's perfect. I am your POP, your professor of prosperity, and I'm here so that all of our lives can pop with prosperity. Living an abundant life certainly has to do with having enough money to make our lives comfortable. After that, then we begin to think of other areas of well-being. And in today's world, especially with pandemic, which seems to be accelerating some now, there are things that interfere with our experience of prosperous living. And because we cannot get our needs met in the same ways that we used to be able to get our needs met pre-pandemic, then we have to get innovative and creative. So some of the things that interfere with our prosperity flow, our flow of well-being, are loneliness, a sense of belonging, and a sense that there's no meaning and purpose in our lives. So what can we do about loneliness? How can we get creative when we're not going out to lunch maybe and meeting our friends? We're not going to so many meetings. I mean, some of my meetings have been canceled in person. What can we do? Well, one thing that we can do is an old technique called the mirror technique, in which we actually go to the mirror and we look at ourselves and we start talking back and forth to each other. To ourselves. And that gives us a sense that there's somebody else there. So that's one thing. Another thing we can do is if we have friends, we can call those friends, and it's probably better to call them on Zoom or on something where we can actually see their faces so that we can have more eye-to-eye contact. One thing I've done is I'm sort of instigating what I call these fireside chats, because we have a fireplace in our living room, but that is just sitting down and talking with my husband, some without television. We're not talking about some kind of house task, but just kind of shooting the breeze, just sitting down and talking to each other. And another thing we can do is that we can really ask for some kind of validation, and that is to call people and say, I just want to know why it is you like me, and just have them answer that question and see what it is. And then say, and I'm willing to let you know what it is that I like about you, and you telling them what you like about them. And so that begins to cement our sense of belonging and our sense of not feeling so alone. What else can we do if we are feeling like we don't have any meaning and purpose in our lives? Then we need to borrow meaning and purpose in our lives. And that often comes to me by reading books that help me decide some of the things that I'm very interested in. When we have meaning and purpose in our lives, it doesn't mean that we have to be saving the world, but it can be something as simple as, I want to learn a foreign language. I want to learn art. I want to read philosophy and really understand that. It's getting interested in an area and going deep into that area. And often with that kind of commitment, the universe begins to feed us this different kinds of energy that enliven us. And so if we don't feel meaning and purpose in our lives, we need to look somewhere where we can create that meaning and purpose, because really life has the meaning that we give to it anyway. Now, many people have a job that provides meaning and purpose. Their families provide meaning and purpose, but sometimes the meaning and purpose just slips. We need to shore it up with something that brings us creatively alive, even if it's in our thinking process. So we're not thinking the same old stale things. And in terms of belonging, I like an affirmation just to say, I belong. I belong, and I see the results of that belonging. And so, if I can't think of something to do to make myself feel like I belong, then I can affirm that I belong and look forward to the universe bringing me the modus operandi by which I can begin to feel as if I belong. And then I can also do things, as I say that I belong, is to do really sweet things. For example, I can hug myself and say, I belong, I belong, and just rub my shoulders. Because when we do that, when we have that sense of I belong, Then we need some physical touch. So we may not have a lot of people around us hugging and touching us, but we can do that ourselves. So many people are busy maintaining lives that we don't take time to meet our deepest psychological needs. And when we don't meet those psychological needs, we tend to get anxious and depressed. Do you know that out of 9 reasons for anxiety and depression, only 2 of those are chemically based? The rest of them have to do with loneliness, not belonging, those kinds of being needs that we need to get met. And when we begin to get those things met, and we can do that, it is possible. When we begin to get those needs met, then we begin to enter back into that divine, prosperous flow of our lives. And abundance affirmations are really about abundant living. And the affirmations are about bringing us back to the space and place where we actually feel and experience the abundance of our being, the abundance of our universe. So this is Dr. Money. Let's take a deep breath in. And as we breathe in our good. And as we exhale our intention that all other beings receive their good as well. I also want you to remember a couple of other things, and that is that our burdens are lifted, our cares are few. I just got this notice that I looked up. So let me start over again. Let me click that. This big notification came up on my screen. But our burdens are lifted. Our cares are few. Our joy is unlimited. And I love you.